Hi, Artpost Friends. Thanks for joining me today for Drawing Together. For the last 2 weeks, we've been taking a look at one of our local Pennsylvania birds. It's called a sandpiper. We are drawing him standing in the water, and today let's bring him into completed 3D form. So let's get our blenders, let's get our erasers, let's really work with the materials that we have on the paper, smudge them all together, see where we get to. We want to bring him into a form that looks like something we could just reach out and pick up. You guys have seen this probably before in some of our other videos if you've been in class with us. This is basically a rolled up piece of paper, and we slide it along on top of our lead or charcoal, whatever we have on our paper, and it smooths things together in a way that makes it look soft in texture, and it really brings it to life as far as taking these rough lines and smoothing them together. So let's work together here on the main areas of shadow first. So of all the lines that I'm making, I'm looking at my image back and forth, and I'm seeing where do I have the deepest value. So I'm going after those areas first. There's some shadow over here on the right. And I just run this blender right over top of our marks, smooth things together. Shadow is kind of sharp. It's a clear line from where the sun is hitting this the side of his bird. Let's come over here to the tail. There's another very deep area of shadow back here. And also here. And along his back. And coming across here, like this. Okay, these are kind of cool. They're quick erasers. They can get into some skinny areas, maybe that our larger erasers would have trouble getting in for the details. I use a brush to smooth away my extra eraser marks. I'm just cleaning up the edges here. Got a nice, clean, crisp edge to them on this side. Clean up some of these extra pencil marks. And I'm actually going to take away some of the value here. His belly has white feathers. So as we progress into the background, the reason that we will see this area here white, there will be the value of the water behind him will actually be darker. And so that will be the defining line to show the white. So I'm going to keep working around here, and I'm working in the direction, even with my eraser, I'm drawing with my eraser, this rounded motion. Okay, and I'm going to come across here, pulling out some highlights across his back as well. Again, in that rounded motion. So this whole thing, all of our lines and marks were made in the direction that he is filled out in real life. Okay. Let's come across here, clean up a few more things. He's got a nice white crisp line around his head here. Get that in there. We're going to clean up his eye. There's a nice crisp line around his eye. I do have my pencil with me today as well, and I'm going to go back in here, and I call this crisping up. So we're going to crisp up some of the detail lines again. Now that we've blended and erased once, I want to pull back in my crispy lines around the darkest shadows. I want to define that this wing is actually behind his body in the back here. So I'll do that by increasing the value of his back here. And I want to show that the value on the other side of his neck is really dark, and that the feathers on his neck are actually light brown and white speckled. And I'll start to go ahead and define a few more of those lines now. So So this is a really interesting part of the drawing where you get to go after some of those fine details and all the shading. So we're still doing our directional lines as well as some generalized shading and adding some value. Okay, we can go after here in the beak, bringing the value up on the edge. Let's crisp up this line as well. So in this area of his feathers, the dark feathers on top of his head, they are deeper in value than the background behind him. So we can really push the lines and the value on the top of his head, as it will be deeper and darker in value than what is behind him. Unlike this area here on his belly, we're going to bring the value of this background up to meet the line that comes across his belly, and that is what will define that area. These are some feather markings I'm putting in now. I'm really having fun at this point, being really free. Once again, you want to keep your movements coming from your shoulder if you can. It will give you a freedom of motion, and you can change the way that you're holding your pencil. That will also open up for a different kind of drawing motion. Okay, come across here, deeper values across the back. And I'm going to bring the marks that wrap around from the top, around and down. This is sort of like shading an egg. We've done that in the past as well. You can see a few little feather markings through the shadow over here. Bring that into form a little more. And this comes right up to the eye, and let's really push the value of the eye here. And it actually comes a little straighter across here, just like this, a little closer to the eye. So you can see I'm always back and forth from the image that I'm working from and seeing what makes sense and where have I forgotten some details. One more swipe with our blender. So soften some of those marks we just put in. Bring it around the wing here. Across the back. Again in a circular motion. Across the middle. Around the neck. A few indications right down here. There we go. And I think we're at a stopping point again for today. I hope you guys are enjoying seeing this drawing come from nothing, from the very outline all the way up into three-dimensional with blending and erasing. And we may even continue on next week and add the value in the background and lay him into his landscape. So until we see each other again, have a great week and happy drawing.